My strained relationship with my grandmother only grew more so in the time after my daughter Bernice and I had moved back in with my grandparents as I tried to make ends meet. It was the tail end of the 90s, in 1997, and after my graceless exit from the FBI, I desperately needed work. In search of a job, a friend suggested I consider teaching. So with zero prior teaching experience under my belt, I became a first-year teacher struggling to manage a boisterous sixth-grade class of inner-city kids from the South Bronx. By a strange twist of fate, it's through one of my students, Elian, that I ended up receiving a spiritual reading from a Cuban bruja named Yomara, his eccentric mother. Elian's grades were less than stellar, and he was a smartass who always mouthed off in class. Though he was just 11, his dirty jokes were so filthy they'd put Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor to shame. One time during social studies, I was teaching a class about the irrigation system in Egypt and the ingenuity of those living in an ancient civilization. When explaining how the water was channeled to the arid land via aqueducts, Elian soon found his stride when he interrupted me by saying, "The land in Egypt is dry, right?" Water wasn't readily available, depended on the region. "Oh, okay, I got you. That's like your mother's pussy, 'cause that shit is dry everywhere." The whole class combusted into a roar of thunderous laughter, and if Elian had a penny for every wisecrack he'd ever made while in my classroom, he'd soon have enough to start his own college fund. To send a strong message to Elian and the other class clowns, I'd always threatened to contact their parents for at-home teacher conferences, hoping it would rein in their outrageous antics. "I'm calling your mother tonight," I said to Elian with all the conviction I could muster without wearing myself out. I was fast on the draw, but Elian was faster. As soon as I got my words out, he spit back, "I don't give a fuck, mister. She won't be home anyway. She'll be out on the streets with her gang the ex-old man." Then he leapt onto his feet and began signing gang symbols with his fingers. "Enough, Elian." While he thought he won the argument, unbeknownst to him, I had an ace in the hole. Little did Elian know, that little shit, that I'd already spoken to his mother, and I'd been extended an invitation to join them for a home-cooked meal to discuss his slumping academic performance. Little did I know at the time what a shocker I was in for when I received a spiritual reading that would predict the next decade of my life almost to a T. I'd never subscribed to psychics or fortune-telling before, but an encounter with this bruja would forever open my eyes to the metaphysical forces at work in our lives that are both inexplicable and eerily true.